I'm going to make a bet with you, and I want you to be honest with yourself about whether I win it. Somewhere in your house is a drain that runs slow, or one that stopped completely sometime in the last year. And I'd bet money that when it happened, you did at least three of these four things. You poured something out of a bottle into the standing water. You grabbed whichever plunger was closest instead of the right one. You leaned on that first push hard. And when the toilet bowl started climbing toward the rim, you flushed it again to see if it would go down. If I just described your last clog, I'm not calling you careless. I'm telling you those four moves are the reason a 15-minute job turns into a $400 invoice. I've been taking apart other people's plumbing for a long time now, and the clog is almost never what costs the money. What the homeowner did to the clog costs the money. I hope I lost that bet. I usually don't. Stick with me to the end, because there's one thing I do before I ever touch a plunger. Takes 15 seconds, costs nothing, and it tells you whether plunging will work at all, or whether you're about to make everything a whole lot worse. 20 minutes before that $400 invoice gets written, that same clog is a 15-minute job. With a rubber cup and a little patience, same clog, same house. The only thing that changed in between was what somebody did to it. So let me explain what's actually sitting in your pipe, because everything else follows from that. Under every sink, tub, and shower in your house is a curved section of pipe shaped like the letter U. That's the trap. It holds a little water permanently so sewer gas can't come up through the drain and into your kitchen. Good design, standard for well over a century. But that same curve is where hair, soap film, and cool grease pile up first, because it's the first place gravity gives them a reason to stop moving. So the large majority of household clogs sit right there in the trap, or just past it. Reachable and cheap. Past the trap, your fixture drain joins the branch line, the bigger horizontal pipe inside your wall, collecting several fixtures at once. Past that, the main line out to the sewer. Here's why that matters to your wallet. In current pricing, a plumber clearing a simple sink, tub, or toilet clog runs somewhere around $100 to $275. Once that same clog is packed into the branch line, you're looking at $175 to $600, because now it's a bigger machine, a longer cable, and often somebody pulling a clean-out access open in a crawl space. If it's gotten bad enough to need hydrojetting, which is high-pressure water scouring the pipe walls, that starts around $350 and climbs past $1,000. The clog didn't get more expensive on its own. Somebody pushed it somewhere expensive, which brings me to number one, and it's the big one. Number one, pouring liquid drain cleaner into standing water. Everybody's done it. The sink's full, you're annoyed. There's a jug under the counter that says it eats clogs. In it goes. Understand what physically happens. Your drain is already blocked, so the water in that basin is sitting there because it has nowhere to go. The cleaner you just poured in does not travel down to the clog and start working. It sinks part way, gets diluted, and pools in the trap against the pipe wall. And these products work by chemical reaction, which means heat. That's not a side effect. That's the mechanism. Sodium hydroxide, which is lye, generates real heat when it reacts. And at the clog site, that reaction can top 180 degrees. Now, PVC pipe, the white plastic under most sinks installed in the last 40 years, starts to distort somewhere around 140 to 160 degrees. Read those two numbers next to each other. The reaction can run hotter than the temperature at which your pipe starts to lose its shape. That's not a burst pipe on day one. It's slower than that. The heat softens the glued joints and the slip joint washers, and 8 months later you've got a slow weep under the cabinet ruining the floor of the vanity, and nobody connects it back to the jug. On older cast iron or galvanized steel, the caustic just accelerates corrosion from the inside where you'll never see it. And there's the part almost nobody thinks about. That cleaner is still in there. It doesn't evaporate. So when you come back an hour later and start plunging, you're pressurizing a trap full of caustic liquid, and the plunger pushes it straight back up at your face. Chemical burns to the eyes happen exactly this way. It'll also permanently etch porcelain and enamel if it splashes on the basin. This is why plumbers get particular about it. When we open a drain that's had cleaner sitting in it, the cable coming back out flings whatever's in there around the room. Plenty of shops charge extra. Some won't take the call at all. That's not us being precious. That's a real injury risk to the person doing the work. So here's what to do instead. If the water is standing, bail it out with a cup into a bucket, down to a couple of inches. It's unpleasant, and it takes 4 minutes. Then go mechanical, which just means physical tools, not chemistry. And if you've already poured cleaner in, that's your line. Stop. Don't plunge it. Don't snake it. Flush it with a lot of cold water if it's moving at all. And if you end up calling somebody, tell them what's in the pipe before they start. Nobody's going to lecture you, and they'll thank you for it. Number 2, the wrong plunger. There are 2 shapes, and they are not interchangeable, and I guess a solid half of the houses I've walked into own exactly one plunger, and it's the wrong one for what they're pointing it at. The flat cup plunger is a plain rubber dome. It seals against a flat surface, which is your kitchen sink, your bathroom sink, your tub, your shower pan. The flange plunger has a soft rubber sleeve that folds down out of the middle of the cup. That sleeve pushes into the curved throat of a toilet and seals it from the inside. It's usually the black one. Put a flat cup on a toilet and it can't seal because it's trying to lie flat against a curved bowl. You'll pump it 30 times and feel like you're doing something. You're moving water around in the bowl and almost nothing is reaching the clog. Go the other direction, flange sleeve down on a flat sink drain, and it props the cup off the porcelain and breaks the seal. Same result. The good news is this is the cheapest problem in the entire video. A flange plunger runs about $10 to $15. A decent cup plunger about $8 to $12. Own both. Keep the toilet one in the bathroom and a flat one under the kitchen sink. And label them if you have to, because you do not want them getting swapped. Number 3, plunging air instead of water. This one's pure physics, and it takes 10 seconds to explain. Air compresses. Water doesn't. When there's barely any water in the bowl or basin and you plunge, the air under that cup squashes down, absorbs your entire stroke, and springs back. All that force went into compressing a pocket of air. Essentially, none of it reached the clog. Fill it so there's a few inches of water covering the cup completely, and now you've got a solid column of water between the rubber and the blockage. Water won't squash, so when you move the cup, the clog feels every bit of it, immediately. It's the difference between shoving a wall with a pillow between your hands and it versus shoving it with a length of pipe. Same arm, completely different result. So if the toilet bowl is low, you add water from a bucket before you start. If the sink is dry, you run some in. You counterintuitive when you're staring at a drain that won't drain, and it's the single easiest fix on this list. Before I get into number 4, one quick thing, because we just crossed the halfway line on the mistakes. Everything here comes out of a book I put together called 100 Old House Fixes That Save You Thousands. There's a section in it on knowing when a cheap patch is genuinely fine and when it's just hiding a problem that comes back bigger, plus the questions worth asking a contractor before you agree to anything. Links in the description or scan the code on screen. So, back to the drain. We had the plunger sealed and the water level right. But what you do in the next 2 seconds matters more than the next 20 strokes. And this is where I watch people undo everything. Number 4, the violent first push. Natural instinct. You're frustrated, you've got a tool, so you drive it down hard. 2 things go wrong at once. First, you just compacted the clog. A hair and grease blockage sits loose in the pipe, more like a wad of wet lint than a solid plug. Hit it with a hard shove and you press it tighter and drive it further along the pipe, away from the trap where you could have reached it, out toward the branch line where you can't. Look back at the cost gap I gave you earlier. That's the shove that moves you from one column to the other. Second, you're firing a pressure spike into pipe joints that weren't built for it. Under your sink, those slip joints are held by plastic nuts and washers, hand tight. In an older house, drum traps and corroded joints will let go entirely. I've seen a good hard plunge blow a joint open under a kitchen sink and dump the whole basin into the cabinet. Here's a technique that actually works. Seat the cup over the drain and push down slowly and gently, once, just to squeeze the air out from under the rubber and set the seal. Slow. Then work it up and down with steady, medium strokes, maybe 15 or 20 of them, keeping the seal the entire time. And this is the piece almost nobody has right. The pull stroke does most of the work. Pushing drives the clog further into the pipe. Pulling drags it back toward you, towards the trap, where it breaks up and where it can come out. So you're not hammering the clog down the line. You're rocking it loose and dragging it back. Fast, frantic pumping breaks the seal and slops water on your floor. And that's it. Slow and deliberate wins this one. Number 5, not sealing the system. You can have the right plunger, the right water level, and perfect technique, and get nothing at all, because the pressure you're making is escaping out a hole you forgot about. A plunger is a closed system tool. It only works if the only place your pressure can go is toward the clog. So 3 leaks to close. That little hole near the rim of a bathroom sink or the plate under the tub spout is the overflow, and it connects into the same drain below. Every stroke vents straight out of it. Stuff a wet rag in and hold it there. In a double bowl kitchen sink, both bowls share one drain below, so plunging one just pumps water up into the other. Plug the second bowl, and a dishwasher's drain hose ties into that same kitchen line, so your pressure runs up the hose and can push dirty sink water back into the dishwasher. Clamp it shut. Wet rags, by the way, not dry ones. Wet cloth swells and seals. Dry cloth just lets air whistle past. None of this costs anything. It's the difference between doing the job and doing a workout. Number 6, flushing again when the bowl is rising. This is the one that floods floors, and it's almost involuntary. Bowl fills up, panic sets in, hand goes to the handle. Maybe another flush pushes it through. It does not. That handle lifts the flapper, which is the rubber seal at the bottom of the tank, and dumps the tank's water into the bowl. Roughly 1.5 gallons in a modern toilet, more in an older one. The bowl in front of you is already full because the drain isn't accepting water. You just added 1.5 gallons to a container that's already at the brim. Over the rim it goes, and now you're dealing with contaminated water in the subfloor and possibly the ceiling below. Different repair entirely, and that's the one that gets genuinely expensive. So when you see the water climbing, do this instead. Take the lid off the tank, set it somewhere safe, reach in, and push the flapper down flat with your hand and hold it. That stops the refill instantly. The water in the tank is clean, so don't be squeamish. Then wait. Most of the time, the bowl drains down over a few minutes as water seeps past the blockage, and once it's dropped, you can plunge it properly with a flange plunger. You'd think the flush handle is the last thing anybody would reach for in that moment. It's the first thing every time. Number 7, coat hanger snaking. Somebody, somewhere, decided that a straightened wire coat hanger is a poor man's drain snake. It isn't, and it damages things in 2 separate ways. The first is cosmetic and permanent. Bare steel wire scraping around inside a toilet leaves scratches you cannot buff out, and they're worse than they look, because the glaze on porcelain is what makes it smooth and non-porous. Break the glaze and you've got rough spots that grab waste and stain, and they keep staining forever. There's a whole tool called a closet auger, built specifically for toilets, with a protective sleeve over the cable, so it gets around the toilet's internal trap without touching the porcelain. About $25 to $40, and it lasts decades. The second problem is worse because it feels like success. You poke the wire in, you feel resistance, you push through, and the water drains. Fixed it, right? You punched a hole through the middle of the clog. The clog is still there, it's just got a channel through the middle of it now. A ring of grease and hair sitting all the way around the pipe wall. Water runs through that channel fine for a few weeks. Then the ring closes back up because that's what rings of grease do, and you're right back where you were, except now the blockage is denser and better established. That ring is the reason people tell me a drain clogs every couple of months. It's not clogging every couple of months. It never got cleared once. It got tunneled through repeatedly. A proper drain auger, meaning a coiled cable with a corkscrew or hook tip, works differently. It's meant to grab the material and let you pull it back out of the pipe, or chew it apart properly. Hand augers run about $15 to $25 and reach 15 to 25 feet. If you're going to buy one tool off this entire video, buy that one. Number 8, chemical cocktails. This one I'm not going to be casual about because it genuinely kills people. Bleach and acid combined release chlorine gas, not fumes. Chlorine gas, which is a thing they used as a weapon in the First World War. It's heavier than air, so it settles down low and pools. And a bathroom is a small room with a closed door and no meaningful ventilation. Chlorine irritates eyes and airways at very low concentrations, and higher concentrations put people in emergency rooms with fluid in their lungs. And the ways it happens in ordinary houses are so boring you'd never see it coming. Somebody pours bleach into a toilet to whiten it, then follows with an acid-base bowl cleaner, which is most of the ones that dissolve mineral stains. Somebody tries one brand of drain cleaner, gets nothing, and tries a different brand an hour later, not knowing one is lye-based and the other is acid-based. A state health department documented a case where a plumber went to clear a drain, noticed it smelled of bleach, and poured in a sulfuric acid opener. He went to the emergency room with respiratory distress. That's a professional. Who knew about chemicals standing over the drain? So the rule is one product only, ever, and honestly, my preference is none at all. Never a second product after a first one, not the same day, not an hour later, not even a different brand of the same type, because you cannot tell from the front of a bottle whether it's caustic or acidic. If you got 2 open bottles under your sink right now, you don't have a backup plan. You have 2 halves of a bad afternoon. And if you ever mix something by accident and smell chlorine, don't try to be a hero and neutralize it. Get everybody out of the room, open a window from outside if you can, close the door, and stay out. Right, that's all 8. Let me deal with the 3 situations that come up most often when people follow all of this and still have a problem. The drain gurgles when a different fixture is running. That's a venting issue. Your drain system has vent pipes running up through the roof to let air in behind draining water, and if one is blocked, usually by leaves or a bird's nest, the draining water pulls air through the nearest trap instead. That's your gurgle. Plunging won't touch it, and a vent is a roof job. I'd rather you call somebody than went up a ladder. Only the toilet backs up, everything else is fine. Good news. That's local. It's almost certainly in the toilet's own trap, and a flange plunger plus a closet auger handles the large majority of them. Water comes up in the tub when you flush the toilet. That's your main line, and this is where I want you to stop. Stop plunging, stop pouring, stop everything, and call somebody. When waste is coming back up into the lowest fixture in the house, the blockage is downstream of everything, and every gallon you send at it makes the backup worse. This is also the only one on this list where you're dealing with actual sewage, and that's a health issue, not a DIY project. There's no shame in that call. That's the call being worth the money. Now, the thing I promised you at the start. Before I touch a plunger, before I touch anything, I run one test that takes about 15 seconds. I call it the two-fixture test. When one drain backs up, go turn on a different fixture on the same side of the house. Different sink, the tub, whatever's nearest. Let it run 30 seconds and watch both. If only your original drain is slow and the second one runs away clean, the blockage is local. It's in that fixture's trap or just past it. Plunge it, auger it. You're the right person for this job, and you'll have it done in 15 minutes. But if that second fixture also gurgles, backs up, or drains slowly, the blockage is not in your trap. It's downstream, in the branch, or the main, in shared pipe. And that is the moment where every single thing in this video turns against you, because plunging a shared line just pressurizes wastewater and sends it up into whichever fixture sits lowest. Usually a tub, usually with somebody's towels on the floor next to it. 15 seconds, free. And it's the difference between a $15 tool solving your problem and a $400 invoice plus a floor. Nobody in this trade is hiding that test from you. It's just that there's no money in prevention, so it's nobody's job to tell you. That's the whole reason I run this channel. I've got a plunger in my truck that I've had since my second year on the job. Cracked handle, wrapped in tape twice. I've kept it because a fellow I worked under handed it to me and told me most of what I'd get paid for wouldn't be knowing the fix. It'd be knowing what not to touch. He was right, and it took me about 15 years and a few expensive lessons of my own to properly believe him. That's what all 8 of these come down to. Not skill, just knowing which move makes it worse. If this was useful, that book is 100 Old House Fixes that save you thousands. Most of it is catching small stuff early. The drips and slow leaks that quietly wreck a cabinet floor or a ceiling before anybody notices. And there's a seasonal checklist in the back, so you know what to look at and when. Links in the description, or scan the code on screen. And if you want more old house fixes that keep your money in your pocket instead of somebody's invoice, subscribe to Roger the Pipe Guy. Bail to standing water. Right plunger, enough water over it, gentle first push, seal the overflow, and run the two-fixture test before any of it. I'll see you next time.